I'm very conflicted as well, because considering everything that's going on, considering everything that is being said to us, from government officials, from health officials, what are they saying? Stay home, stay away from people, keep your distance, and be smart, and don't touch people, etc. And I agree with everything. I haven't left my house since March 11th. I mean, I go outside here and there, but I haven't gone anywhere. I haven't interacted with people, because I feel like that's a smart thing to do. And now here we have a sport that is a contact sport, a combat sport that involves a lot of touching, that not only in the sport itself, like in the actual fight itself, what about the training? What about, leading up to the fight? What about the officials, the referees, the cutmen? There's a lot of touching involved. And so why are we above all of this? Like, if the NBA is shutting down, if the Olympics are shutting down, if the NHL, Major League Baseball, NFL obviously not in play, but March Madness, all that stuff, if all those people can't go on, why do we feel like we are above this? So I'm very conflicted right now. I feel for the fighters who can't make money if they don't fight, and all of them are telling me they want to fight. But I also feel like it's not the best look when you look around at the entire world and everyone else is doing nothing. MMA seems to be the only one sticking out. I don't know how I feel about that internally.
Does Dana look at this as just such an opportunity? I know he's saying, hey, everyone's at home, and if we don't do anything, people are going to start losing their minds. But there is a unique opportunity for UFC to step it up and gain new fans and be the sport right now. Do you feel like he feels the pressure to deliver?
I think there's some of that. I mean, I think what you're saying is ego. There's a little bit of ego involved. There's press involved, because you could be, we're talking about him right now. We're the first ones to get back on track. We're the ones who are going to bring normalcy to society and all that stuff. But I also feel like this idea, this notion that the world needs entertainment is a little bit flawed. You know what the world needs? The world needs doctors. The world needs, hospital beds to not be occupied by pro fighters. The world needs all the doctors and nurses possible to be focused on people who are truly sick and not self-inflicting themselves with wounds, which what I mean by that is going into a fight, you know that you're going to get hurt, then you break your leg, and now all of a sudden you're in a hospital bed, taking maybe a spot away from someone who truly needs it. So I get it, but on the other hand, like, we'll survive if there are no sports for a month or so. Life will go on. We'll get back on track at some point. I don't understand this notion that, we need this because we need something to do on April 18th. There's plenty to do. We've got a multitude of platforms, streaming, this, that, and the other that you could do. Like, it's not like we truly need this, in my opinion.
And is the potential backlash worth it, Ariel? Like, what if someone gets sick as a result? Maybe it's a corner man. Maybe it's a guy, that happens to be there for training purposes. Maybe it's one of the fighters. What will the aftermath be if that happens?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question. And that's something that I've been thinking about as well, and that I'm conflicted about. But if you know one thing about Dana White, he kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's sort of the kind of guy who doesn't mind when there's backlash or criticism of something that he's doing. So I think he's probably in the position right now of thinking like, I don't really care, and that just seems to be his rhetoric. His rhetoric seems to be,
it's a fighter's mentality, right? We're always putting ourselves at risk in the octagon, but this is a little different, and you'd agree.
100%, yeah. I've said this countless times. Fighters possess DNA that I could never even dream of having. Like, the idea of walking into a cage and fighting another human being, to me, is unfathomable for myself. I enjoy it, and that's why I have so much respect for them, but I can't pull something like that off. And so they are kind of faced with these moral dilemmas, if you will, all the time. But again, I don't know if we're actually looking at it from, the most, the smartest point of view, in the sense that if you go into a fight, it's not just about you. You may be asymptomatic, like we've heard with so many of these athletes, but you could give it to then someone who's, has a low immune disorder. So if you just sit back and listen to what everyone else is saying, the news, not the sports world, but the news, like health officials, everything that they're saying would suggest that this isn't something that should be happening.